That template worked out really nice. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully it's not too bright out here, but nice and smooth. Looks good. I'm happy with that. Oh, sun. I'm happy with that. So I think it's time to stand this thing up and throw it on here and see what it looks like. Alright, so little issue with the templates. Well, not an issue, it's user error, operator error. Apparently just laying these on the thing and saying, oh, that looks about right, makes it that far off. So, as you can see, I forgot to record, of course, but I put them on the wall support and then screwed them together so that it's the same shape. So, a little off on this side and way off on the back. So, I'm going to use the router to trim that off, and I'll show you the router bit. So this is a 2-flute upcut 1/4-inch bit, and I'm basically just letting it ride on the shank, the smooth shank. I'm just letting that ride on the plywood, and it seems to be working pretty good. So anyway, let's get this thing trimmed. So here's the smart way to do it. Put your template on your trailer and then brace it and then trim your panel, and then it fits way better. So this is kind of giving you an idea of what the size is going to be. So the roof, obviously, and I've got all the holes. This is the curbside wall, not the roadside, but the top of the trailer is about in this range somewhere. So, and this is a little bit lower than it's going to sit because I've got it lowered way down for the next time we laminate. It'll be easier not to have to reach so high. So anyway, this is looking pretty good. Let's look at it from this side too. Starting to look like a trailer a little bit. And there's a giant slab of white on the inside. Looking good. So I just need to keep trimming and get the doors cut out at some point soon. Alright, I couldn't stand it. I switched sides with it. My boy Hayden helped me, so hopefully you can see those pen lines on there. We got entry door, pantry, window, front lower storage. And I have a story about the my brilliant idea to use PVC for conduit. I'm not using it anymore. I'm sure I've got a clip somewhere, and I'll show it here if there is, of how I put the conduit together, how I taped it together. I used masking tape to tape the joints, and so when the panel was done, I pulled everything off, and then I wanted to check and make sure that nothing leaked in or anything. And no joke, this is going to be a light switch right there. That thing from there almost all the way to the end and up a little bit into the vertical one, nearly solid epoxy. So I got to go around this way. So I was able to break, it wasn't solid, I was able to break some of it out, but right up where the joint was, where the T intersection was, it was pretty solid. And so I ended up having to make this long ass auger bit and kept drilling and drilling and drilling and drilling into it, and finally I've got it broken up enough to where I could actually fish some string through there so I could get the wire. Luckily there's not a ton of wires that are going in there. There's only 3 or 4 wires that are going through that, so that was pretty lucky. But and the other vertical one, so there's, you can see the other hole by the pantry door, there's a vertical one that goes all the way up to the porch light on the outside, and then it goes all the way down underneath for the underbody lighting. And that one, there's still, in fact, there's still some in that one I wasn't able to get out, but it wasn't full. It was just kind of a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch buildup on one side. So needless to say, I am not using that PVC anymore. I am going to use 3/4 inch aluminum tube, and I'm going to use a lot better. I'm probably going to use aluminum tape to actually tape the joins up so that nothing leaks into those, because that was a royal pain in the ass. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not in the reflection, but probably not, but you can actually see the line of the conduit where I was running that auger bit in and back out, and it was, you could see the bit like pushing through the skin. It was terrible. Anyway, lesson learned. And also the other thing that bothers me that I didn't realize is the epoxy doesn't stick to the PVC. Like I was able to break and pop the stuff out. Once it was broken loose, it came right off of the PVC. So that's also another reason why I'm not going to use it anymore, is because the epoxy doesn't stick to it. So anyway, lesson learned on that one. But for now, I think that's encouraging to see that wall sitting there with all the outlines of the openings cut out. Gets me excited to keep working on it. Alright, so the wall is cut out. It actually looks like what I did on the computer. That's encouraging. So I just showed some footage earlier about me going to my buddy Dirk's house. Thanks again, Dirk. I really appreciate it. We got some templates cut out for storage and for window and for door. So I made them an 1/8 of an inch oversize because I got this handy dandy little router guide thing. I'm sure woodworkers are probably familiar with that, but that's just a little screw in. Well, it's got a collar, threaded collar on the back of it. So that makes it, steps it out an 1/8 of an inch away from the bit. So I made these templates an 1/8 of an inch oversize, so I could cut these doors out, all the storage doors and the entry door and the window out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the big chunks out with the jigsaw because that's easier, and then I'll cut them out with the jigsaw, and then I'll come back and double side tape the templates down and use the router with that nice upcut bit on it to make a nice smooth inside. It kind of probably doesn't matter because they're just going to be covered anyway, but I kind of want them to look nice and be nice and even. So anyway, there you go, more templates. So I'm doing a hole in each corner of the entry door because I'm not going to cut the whole entry door out. It would make this panel way too weak in the center, and it would break pretty easily, I think. So I'm going to probably just trim the corners out, and then once the panel is glued on to the rig, then I'll be able to use my poor man's track saw guide clamped, or use the jigsaw or the router or something, and be able to do the straight cuts when it's after it's glued onto the chassis, because that would just break. It would only leave what, 2.5 inches at either end. That would just snap. So we're going to leave that, and we're just going to do the corners on the entry door, but everything else can be cut out. I think it's pretty safe to cut everything else out. So, and that's going to take probably, geez, I don't know, 50% of the weight of the wall away. So that's cool. It'll be a lot lighter after that. That's starting to look like a wall. Look at that thing. Decent amount of stiffness still with all those cutouts. That's good. I don't know if you can see it in the reflection or not. Probably not, but man, there's shimmery little fiberglass particles all over this thing. So it's probably a good thing I'm wearing my mask. Well, here we are. I put it on the wrong side just so that I could see it better on this side of the trailer, on the open side. It sort of resembles what I have on the computer. Pretty cool. Yeah, next step is to clear this whole entire thing off and laminate another wall. Now that this one is, for the most part, cut out. You can see I just did the corners of the doors. And then the next step, the last thing I have to do on these wall panels is I have to come around and route an inch and, you know, whatever the thickness of my panels are around the three sides of it, because the roof and the front and the back and the roof set in to the walls, so I have to route that out, and that's my big templates are set up to do that. So yeah, looking good. I'm beat from, I know it doesn't look like a lot of work, but it is, and it's just freaking messy too. It's just fiber, I'm covered in fiberglass. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.